Hi, my name is James Shepard, and in today's video, we're going to talk about how to sell credit card processing in a snowstorm. I'm actually going to give you 5 tips on cold calling. Now, you might be excited about your day. You wake up, you're motivated, ready to get out in the field, and what happens? You look out the window like I did this morning, and fortunately my office is about 30 seconds from my house, but many of you do not have that luxury, and you look out your window and your car is covered with snow. You're snowed in, the roads are icy. What in the world are you going to do? And so let me give you 5 tips on cold calling, because that's actually a situation where it would be more productive for you to spend the day inside on the phone than it would be for you to get out there and risk life and limb to slide all over the roads and try to do prospecting. Okay, so let me give you 5 tips. Tip number 1. Think about what your competitors are doing. I always like to think about my competitors. Now, I don't have to wonder at all what my competitors are doing today, as I am in central Pennsylvania. It is 19 degrees. There's probably 6 inches of snow on the ground. I know what my competitors are doing. All the other independent agents are sitting at home on their couch, cozy, and bundled up and watching television. Okay. Now, if you want to differentiate from the competition and you want to succeed, you want to be above average, then guess what you need to do? You need to do something else, something different than that, okay? So I'm going to give you a little plan today of what you can do to have a very, very productive day. So tip number 4 on this list of 5 tips, pick some business types to call based on the time of day and the time of year. For instance, if it is the week of Black Friday or if it's the week of Christmas, I'm not going to call very many retail businesses. That's not going to be one of my target groups that I'm going to call during my inside day on the phone. If it is noon, I'm not going to be calling pizza shops and quick service restaurants. If it's 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, I'm not going to call fine dining establishments. Okay, so let me just give you a breakdown real quickly of kind of the way I put my list together. So on a snow day when I'm selling, I start at 9 o'clock in the morning, and from 9 to 10, I go on Google Maps. Just go to maps.google.com, and I search for these different business types that I'm going to give you, and I go ahead and make my list. So I spend about an hour putting my list together. You can just copy and paste the list that you get into a Word document, and then just print it out, and then just have this big list of businesses printed out where you can write notes on it and cross them off or whatever. So 9 to 10 I do that. Then from 10 to about 11 or 11:30, I call pizza shops is where I like to start. Usually there's enough pizza shops within, you don't want to go too much farther than 15, 20 miles of your location, but if you expand out, 15, 20 miles, sometimes you have to do a few searches. You got to search pizza shop and then different zip codes. And there'll be enough pizza shops to last you at least an hour, hour and a half. And I like doing that because between 10 to 11, 11:30, the pizza shop owners are normally there preparing for the day, but they don't have a big rush yet. Okay. Then I'll take a lunch break from 11:30 to noon. Then at noon I'll start calling auto repair shops, and I might call auto repair shops from noon to 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, depending on how many I find. Auto repair, I love cold calling them on the phone because the decision maker almost always picks up the phone. I don't know why, but that's just the way it works. The decision maker is pretty much always there, and they always pick the phone up. Okay, then from 2 o'clock to around 4 o'clock, for that 2-hour period of time, I'm usually going to print a list of general restaurants, and I also might print a list of specialty retail, search for retail stores if I can. In other words, if it makes sense, because again, based on the time of year that we're looking at. Now, retail is a lot more difficult, probably the more difficult one to get a list of, because if you just search retail, you're going to find Walmart, Best Buy, Target, stores like that you're not going to call. So sometimes you have to search for shops, things like that. So you can be creative about that, but definitely restaurants. You just get a general list of restaurants, and from 2 to 4, that's a great time to call fine dining establishments, quick service restaurants, things like that. It's after the lunch rush usually, and usually the owner is there preparing for the evening rush. So 2 to 4 is a great time to call restaurants. So what I do is I print this list out of all of these different items. Okay. Next, the number 3 tip here on the list of 5 is to get past the gatekeeper. Okay, let me just give you real quick kind of my pitch, and I have it here in the blog article, so I'll just read it off of that. I say something like, "Hi, my name is James Shepard. I do credit card processing for XYZ company down the street from you there. I'm going to be out in Altoona later this week once the snow clears up and everything, and I was hoping I could stop by and just drop off some information about my services. Who should I ask for when I drop that information off that handles that?" So you can see the pitch there. I make sure that they know that I'm planning to be out in the area because I'm just trying to set an appointment. I'm not trying to make a sale. I just want to set an appointment there. And then at the end of my presentation, and again, if you go to the blog article, go to my website, ccsalespro.com, and you'll see it right up towards the top if it's new. And if not, you can go over to the search box and search for what is it called? Sell credit card processing in a snowstorm or 5 cold calling tips, and it'll pop right up. So the script is in there. At the end of it, I like to say, who should I ask for when I stop by to drop that information off? Because my goal is to speak to the owner, but I need to get past the gatekeeper first. Okay, so the gatekeeper will give me the name of the owner when I ask it in that way. Okay, once they say, "Oh, you need to ask for Bill," I say, "Okay, great. Now, if you could do me one favor." Now, I want to make sure that I stop by on Thursday at a good time for Bill. Would I be able to speak to him just for a moment? Is he in right now? Okay, so now you're going to get Bill on the phone. Okay, so they're going to say, "Yeah, sure, he's here. Hold on a second." Then you get the owner in. Okay, here's the pitch once you have the owner on the phone. Let's say his name is Bill. "Hey, Bill, thanks for taking my call today. I just have one really quick question for you. I do the credit card processing for Bill over at, or Bob over at XYZ Company, and I'm going to be out in your area on Thursday. I was hoping I could stop by and just drop off some information about our free equipment and our low price guarantee for credit card processing. Is there a time when you might be in on Thursday?" So again, you're letting him, you kind of do the pitch, and then you end with the question, "Is there a time when you might be in on Thursday?" Okay. Then he responds with, "Yeah, I'll be here." Then you say, "Great, I'll go ahead and drop that information off for you then at that time." Now, one other quick question before I let you go, Bill. Just out of curiosity, do you know who you guys are using right now to do your credit card processing? Now, at that point, I'm going to try to get into a conversation if I can, and I'll stay on the phone with him if he wants to talk. If he sounds really busy, I may just leave it at that. But if he sounds like, if he's like, "Well, yeah, we're using the local bank," and he sounds like he's willing to talk about this for a minute, I'm certainly going to engage with him and talk about this for a minute to try to get some kind of a connection before I actually go out for the meeting. Okay, number 2 tip on this list: don't be picky about the quality of the lead. Okay. Now, in a day, if I take a day from 9 to 4, I'm calling from 10 to 4 with a 30-minute lunch. I can usually set 5 to 8 really good, solid appointments where I spoke to the owner. Again, if you call that whole time, you can get 5 to 8 appointments, which will get you 2 or 3 sales. But in addition to that, I also get about 5, 6, 7, 8 on top of that where I just spoke to the employee, but the employee gave me the name of the business owner and a time when the business owner is going to be available. That is very valuable information, especially in a week where, bad weather, you don't have a lot of time to prospect. If you have the name and time, the name of an owner and the time they're going to be there, that's very, very valuable. So don't discount that and say, "Well, I'll call them back at that time." No, just, when they get that information, write that down and just go to that business and actually drive over to that business that day at that time and see if you can connect with the owner now that you have his name. That's going to be a huge plus for you. Okay. Finally, the number 1 tip is simply to follow up. I know it sounds so basic, but a lot of times we'll do a day like this and we get all these great leads, and then the rest of the week comes and we just get too busy. Don't get too busy to follow up. Follow up when you said you were going to follow up. And like I said, even on these ones where they said, "I know he's going to be in here on Friday," or "I know he's going to be here on Thursday afternoon," even on those, follow up on those, on every single one later on that week so that you can get some sales. So there's your 5 tips for how to sell merchant services in a snowstorm, 5 tips for cold calling over the phone and setting appointments. One last little extra item I wanted to add here, and I put this on the blog as well, is that make sure you communicate this plan to your family. Otherwise, it's not really fair for your family to have to, here's a snow day. The kids are home from school, they're not going to school, and, and your spouse is there, and then here it's snowing outside, and you say, "Hey, everybody, I need you to be really quiet for the next 8 hours while I make phone calls." That's not fair. Make sure you communicate your plans to your family ahead of time and decide what are you going to do. If you have young children, maybe that's not realistic. With young children, maybe maybe it's realistic for you to take 3 hours and call during maybe their nap time, and maybe then an hour after that your spouse agrees to take them out and go sledding, or whatever it might be, for give you a 3 to 4 hour time to call. Whatever's realistic, make that plan and communicate that with your family and say, hey everybody, just so we're on the same page, just like when there's a snow day, we know what the kids are going to do. They're going to be home from school. My plan on a snow day is I'm going to work these hours, and this is how I'm going to work, and then we need to have a plan of how we're going to make that happen. So, it's not fair to have everybody tiptoeing around the house for 8 hours while you make phone calls. So you have to make a plan and communicate that with your family, and that's going to be very important to actually executing this plan. My name is James Shepard. Thanks so much for watching, listening, or reading the blog article today. Thanks. Have a great day.